the most unlikable candidate in the history of presidents, and that's saying a lot.
But Biden says the same thing.
He's number 2. When Biden says something, does anyone go like, oh?
Right.
No, they used to go, oh, what'd he say?
Yeah. Something is happening in America. You can feel it. Something we've worked for and dreamed of for a long time. Donald Trump fell asleep at his own trial. And when he woke up, he made his own kind of history. The first person to run for president with 34 felonies.
Hillary Clinton pacing like a volcano about to erupt while Tyrus drops bombshells as casually as if he's reading off a grocery list. That's the scene. And the secrets flying around are messier than a toddler's sneakers after a mud run. The explosions, let's just say her reaction alone could power a small city, and you're left wondering, what on earth could be so outrageous it made her lose it this bad? Buckle up, because this meltdown makes regular political drama look tame, like you've stumbled into a soap opera with the volume cranked all the way up.
Tyrus, and this goes back to 2016, people were reluctant to talk to pollsters and say, I like Donald Trump. And now, fast forward 8 years later, essentially they're saying, if you like him, you're in a cult. Do you really want to be in a cult?
If the cult that Hillary doesn't like, yeah.
Before we go any further, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, because you really don't want to miss this one. Hillary Clinton was supposed to be breezing through her post-political life, hopping on talk shows, dropping polished one-liners of wisdom, and soaking up applause like it was a Broadway curtain call. But then here comes Tyrus, stomping into the picture like a bull in a china shop, tossing out secrets so wild they sound like they were dragged straight out of Area 51. And just like that, the whole calm, rehearsed act went up in smoke.
The red hat, I'll get one. Like, it's ridiculous. When the losing side, or someone, she's just a very unlikable person and will say anything to get this attention. But here's the thing, it's changed. America has changed. We no longer listen to that stuff. Now when they say it, we go, that's why I didn't vote for you.
Suddenly, the woman who's weathered decades of Washington scandals is allegedly blowing up like somebody yanked her teleprompter plug mid-sentence. And let's be real, if anyone was going to get Hillary to finally lose her cool, it wasn't going to be a senator, an international rival, or a panel of journalists tossing her softball questions. No, it had to be Tyrus, a guy who looks like he was built in a WWE lab and then repurposed as a walking TV truth grenade. He doesn't just step into controversy, he belly flops into it.
Clinton is one of the most disgusting human beings on the planet.
Very much so.
Always has been, always will be, and will be inserting clips on her response to Benghazi several times throughout the interview. I want to show who she is.
She's worse than her husband.
A lot of people say that this was triggered by a YouTube video. This is her statement. I condemn in the strongest terms the attack on our mission in Benghazi today. The United States deplores any intentional effort to denigrate the religious beliefs of others. Our commitment to religious tolerance goes back to the very beginning.
Picture this, the world's just rolling along, politics dragging through its usual swampy routine, and then out of nowhere, Tyrus decides today's the day he's digging into dirty secrets. And not the polished, sanitized kind politicians know how to spin, no. The kind of dirt that makes dry clean only. Reputations reek like gym socks left out after a 4th of July barbecue.
Talks, you kind of get why Bill did what he did. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, it's kind of like, again, I don't condone, cheating, but that's your morning.
Yeah.
You gotta kiss that before you go to bed at night, and then you gotta sleep with one eye open?
Yeah. When those secrets drop, Hillary's reaction isn't some subtle icy glare or carefully worded rebuttal. It's fireworks, the kind of explosion that makes you wonder if someone swapped her latte with straight jet fuel. And that's the thing about Tyrus. He's always had this gift. He doesn't just call things out, he detonates them.
Your buddy Epstein didn't off himself, and she has all this extra footage cut up in the closet? Like, I bet Bill has not had a good night's sleep for years. I mean, that's why he aged so badly. Yeah. A lot of people don't know this. Bill Clinton is only 37 years old.
Hillary Clinton has spent her entire career trying to script every move, the polished speeches, the staged interviews, the constant push to look like she's always 5 chess moves ahead. But Tyrus doesn't play that game. He treats scandals like a wrestling storyline, packing them with drama, bravado, and just enough showmanship to keep people hooked. So when he goes after Hillary, it isn't just about exposing some shady piece of the past, it's about turning it into a spectacle so big it makes cable news feel like a kid's puppet show. And that's exactly what drives her mad. Because while his style is all about tossing chaos into the air and watching it burn, once those secrets started spilling, she cracked. She reacted like someone flipped her internal do not disturb, switched straight to nuclear meltdown pacing, shouting, waving her arms, like she was both the director and the star of her own political soap opera.
She's just evil. Like, there's nothing like her.
Why would she even tweet that? Like, don't you have
I think she just sits around in her evil lair. Whenever she runs out of Eye of Newt and Small Children to Boil, she then goes to X and just says whatever the most evilest thing. I think if the devil himself showed up, like, you'll never hear her being possessed by a demon. You know what I'm saying? The demon will walk in and the demon will be calling Dr. Phil, you don't believe the that I just saw, bro. Like,
Tyrus didn't just drop gossip. He unearthed the kind of dirty secrets that drag old scandals out of the grave, dust them off, and shove them straight under the brightest spotlight imaginable. Suddenly, the ghosts of Hillary's past weren't faint whispers in the background. They were marching center stage like a badly choreographed parade. And here's the thing, Hillary's been through enough scandals to fill an entire Netflix anthology, but this is the kind of unpredictability her inner circle fears most, because you can't script a counterpunch when the other guy refuses to follow the script. That's why her meltdown became the real headline. Not the secrets, not the details, but the spectacle of her reaction, because in the end, it wasn't about whether the revelations were true, it was about how furiously she tried to slam the door on them.
catfish. Well, they wanted us to believe it was a big naughty redhead that was going around, was going to ruin the world and do all kinds of bad things to us. Turns out the catfish was, hey, we don't boo here, but for this one time, you may boo.
The internet loves nothing more than a public meltdown, and Hillary's blow-up was like handing them the season finale of a reality show. Memes popped up instantly with one side swearing her reaction proved she's guilty of everything under the sun, and the other side brushing Tyrus off as a carnival barker throwing dirt for clout. But while both sides screamed past each other, the real winner was the spectacle itself. Because in 2025, political explosions aren't just news, they're entertainment. And that's the wild part. Here's a woman who's been called every name in the book, dragged through investigation after investigation, still managing to stand there, smiling like she's untouchable. Yet all it took was one oversized pundit with a flair for chaos, and suddenly she's blowing up like a pressure cooker. That alone says everything about the psychological chess match going on behind the scenes.
If the pantsuit fits. Hillary Clinton, you owe Russia an apology. And there should be an apology tour for lying to the American people and ruining 2 years of Trump's presidency and affecting elections with Russiagate, impeachment, and fake dossiers. Oh yeah, let's not forget the P-tape.
In politics, it's never just about facts, it's about perception, and perception becomes reality fast. When Hillary explodes, it feeds the idea that maybe those secrets really hit a nerve, and once people think you're rattled, half the battle's already lost. Tyrus knows that game better than most. He doesn't need footnotes or spreadsheets, just a perfectly timed revelation, a smirk, and the confidence that Hillary will do the rest by overreacting. It's the oldest trick in the book. Poke the bear and let the bear write the headlines for you. And judging by the coverage, it worked better than he ever could have planned. By now, you'd think Hillary would have mastered the art of brushing off controversy, dismiss it, laugh it off, move on. But her meltdown proved even the most seasoned players can slip, and the cherry on top was watching her scramble to reframe it afterward, spinning and pretending she was never rattled in the first place. By then, though, the damage was already done. The internet had crowned it the meltdown of the year, and Tyrus was already off, stirring up his next round of chaos.
You remember what Donald Trump said about Hillary Clinton back in the 2016 debate.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
It's like, yeah, because you'd be going to jail later.
Hillary's explosion wasn't just a reaction. It was pure theater, the kind of over-the-top spectacle that makes you wonder if she's been secretly rehearsing in front of a mirror for years. She didn't just disagree, she went full detonation mode, arms flying, voice rising. unleashing the kind of pent-up frustration that only needed one spark from Tyrus to set it all off. Honestly, it felt like watching a Shakespearean tragedy remixed into a WWE promo, complete with a soundtrack only she could hear playing in her head. The thing is, Hillary's never been great at subtlety. She tries the forced politician's smile, leaning into the mic like she's delivering some courtroom drama line, but the second someone like Tyrus lobs a grenade, that carefully polished image melts faster than ice cream on a July sidewalk. And that's what made this so wild. It wasn't even about what he exposed anymore. It was about proving that the Clinton mystique, that aura of being untouchable, was always just one dirty secret away from cracking wide open. And of course, the internet had a field day. Memes started popping up faster than her temper, and honestly, it was comedy gold.
Since they can't air the truth, they control the storyline, and they've lost control of it. From bloodbath to democracy. Last night, Hillary tried framing the election like this. Both guys are old, but you can't vote for the one we indicted.
What do you say to voters who are upset that those are the two choices?
Get over yourself. Those are the two choices. One is old and effective and compassionate, has a heart, and really cares about people. And one is old and has been charged with 91.
1 minute she's firing off rebuttals, the next she's splashed all over the internet as a volcano, a mushroom cloud, or a glitchy robot on a green screen. People joked that Twitter renamed her Mount Hillary, TikTok remixed her meltdown with Tyrus, grinning like he'd just swallowed a bald eagle, and suddenly, even folks who never cared about politics were glued to their screens because watching one of the most powerful figures in modern history unravel in real time is oddly binge-worthy. Hashtags trended worldwide. News anchors tried to stay solemn, but you could hear the barely contained chuckles. Late-night comics feasted for weeks. Pundits spun wild theories about what Tyrus actually knew, and conspiracy corners stitched it to everything from Wall Street donors to interdimensional lizard people. Every attempt to calm things only fanned the flames, and every effort to downplay her reaction just made it feel like Tyrus had hit a nerve, turning what might have been a quiet story into a full-blown cultural spectacle.
She's back like a sore on a porn star's lip.
Ew.
Complaining on X about Trump cleaning up D.C., she says, quote, on one hand, Republican officials call themselves war fighters. On the other, they become whiny crybabies at the thought of setting foot in D.C.'s streets and New York City subways that literal school children navigate every day without incident. Real macho stuff. Then she got off social media and returned to moving a dead body to a park.
Hillary's defenders tried to spin her outburst as righteous anger, the kind you unleash when you're done with clowns throwing cheap shots. But let's be real, anger that loud doesn't read as strength. It reads as insecurity in a costume. And that's the crazy part, because her whole career was built on outlasting chaos, scandal after scandal, investigation after investigation. She always stood back up like the Terminator in a pantsuit, brushing it off and pushing forward. But now it wasn't a senator, a prosecutor, or even a rival leader that cracked her. It was a TV personality with a flair for theatrics. And that contrast was so sharp, so absurd. Even her diehards had to admit it wasn't her best moment, and Tyrus didn't have to lift a finger after that. The media carried the story, the internet grabbed the popcorn, and the sting for Hillary was knowing exactly how bad it was because she understands the game better than anyone. She knew the second she exploded, she lost. Since in politics, it's never about truth, it's about optics, and optics don't care if Tyrus exaggerated or improvised. They only care that she looked rattled, and for someone who's spent a lifetime perfecting the image of being unshakable, that's a fatal slip.
It's not just ironic, it's not just rich, it's actually pretty sad.
It's what happened to decorum?
Gone,
what happened to being the so-called leader in the room? He's being indicted, great, but let's not forget, you lost your election because of your, quote, crookedness. So let's not forget that. So yeah, she didn't get charges put on her, which probably should have, but she lost the election because of her underhand dealings. So let's remember.
Hillary's blow-up wasn't just another spat between a politician and a pundit. It was proof that politics has fully crossed over into entertainment. Outrage is the stock market now. Theatrics are the currency, and her meltdown was like watching the Dow Jones crash in real time, with everybody glued to it, not for policy debates, but for pure drama, and drama she delivered in full. It's almost poetic when you think about it, because she spent her entire career trying to look strong, inevitable, the iron figure who could survive any scandal. And then here she was, unraveling on camera, while the world laughed. World leaders included, probably watching those clips in their offices muttering, "Only in America does this count as political discourse," while the public was too busy sharing memes and arguing over which joke best captured her meltdown to care about what was even said. And the funniest part is the timing. Hillary wasn't running. She wasn't pushing an agenda. She wasn't even trying to dominate the headlines. She was just existing, and somehow that turned into the biggest political spectacle of the week.
So happy about it. That was an opportunity for her. They're always talking about closing the division. That would have been an opportunity for her to be gracious and be supposedly the leader, but again, she just can't stay away from herself.
Maturity doesn't always come with age.
No, it really doesn't, and it's sad in this currently with the given climate where everybody's after each other's throat. Here's a chance for a leader to show a little bit of class necessary. You don't have to like President Trump. You could think he was guilty of sin or innocent of sin, but when you're put in that position, there was an opportunity for her to show what leaders are supposed.
Hillary was supposed to fade into her post-political life quietly, remembered as a trailblazer and heavyweight, but then boom, Tyrus cracks a few dirty secrets with all the flair of a carnival barker, and suddenly her face is plastered everywhere again. It's almost like the political gods refuse to let her retire in peace, not when her meltdowns still generate viral content. And honestly, that's the cruelest twist. Instead of being remembered for shaping history, she's going down in memes for losing her cool. And the irony is so Shakespearean, it hurts, with a heavy side of internet trolling. The more you think about it, the funnier it gets. Because her explosion wasn't just about her temper. It was a snapshot of the absurd circus that American politics has become. Something no think tank report could ever capture. The real question now isn't if she can bounce back, it's if she even wants to. Because once the genie's out of the bottle, you either ride the chaos or drown in it. And if history tells us anything, Hillary Clinton doesn't drown quietly.